Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's fantastic to see almost 90 plus people here at 7:45 a.m. That's fantastic. This shows that most of you guys are very very interested in topics that we are doing, and it's a blessing in disguise for many people. Definitely for me. My name is Vinay Maste, and I am not a doctor. I am not a medical person. I have not. The only thing that I've studied about medicine is in my science textbooks. But मेरा एसोसिएशन लाइफ शेपर के साथ इतना गहरा हो चुका है. They pulled me out of a very bad medical situation. My journey began when I went through a really horrible medical situation, and that's when some of the people associated with life shapers actually helped me pull me out of it. And वहां से मेरी शुरुआत हुई है इस जर्नी की. And whatever I'm going to say today is not from a medical perspective at all. It's basically from a common man, common layman perspective. Type in the chat if one or why, if you're interested in your own health and do not want to depend too much on other people. Of course, we have to depend on other people like experts, but are you interested in your health? And type again, one plus one or one. Type 11 if you want to take responsibility, if you want to take charge of your own health. Yes, lots of one I'm getting here. That's fantastic. So today we are going to talk about something very interesting. You can see this. I mean, I was always worried because both my parents had been diabetic and all that. So आज का टॉपिक जितना भी इंटरेस्टिंग है, बट एक चीज मैं आपको अभी से बताना चाह रहा हूँ so that all of you can be ready for this. Monday and Tuesday coming next week, that is, 4 और 5 तारीख को, 4th and 5th, we are going to hear for 2 consecutive days from none other than Pramila Olson. Yeah, that requires, a lot of applause. Pramila Olson से हम सुनेंगे. So be prepared for, taking notes, inviting lots and lots of people, lots of friends, because you don't want to miss Pramila's any words. Okay, so that is something that you need to be ready for. Okay, so let's get started on today's topic. And as always, I like to use some slides. So am I pre-diabetic? Pre-diabetic. Okay, let's. Can you put in the chat? Can you guess what percentage of Indian population would be diabetic? Any guess in the chat? कितने लोग डायबिटीज के शिकार हो सकते हैं? 80%, 70%? Okay, okay. That's interesting. Let's look at the figures here. Okay, 77 million people, and this is going to go up to 134 by 2045. 134 million. In the next few years, 100 million people will be diabetic. Okay, diabetes hai, we know we are called the diabetic capital. Actually, we are number 2 in diabetes in the whole world. And then let's look at pre-diabetes. Okay, so what is pre-diabetes? I will just come to that. But look at this. This is a stunning figure. When I was doing research for this, age 30 to 39, 11, if 11 people are diabetic, 19 are pre-diabetic. Okay, in 40 to 49 years of age, it is almost the same. And again, in 50 to 59 years, almost 19 people out of total are pre-diabetic. So you can imagine that at 30 to 39, that is the age when actually pre-diabetes is one of the most common phenomena, and it is silent. हमको पता नहीं चलता है कि हमको pre-diabetes हुआ है. So we will talk about how we can get some of these issues sorted out. क्या हमारे पास tests है वगैरह. We will discuss all that. But let's look at pre-diabetes कैसे होता है, क्यों होता है. तो बेसिकली हम शुरू करते हैं हाई कार्ब डाइट्स. आजकल छोटे छोटे बच्चे भी बहुत ज्यादा जंक फूड खा रहे हैं, एंड वी सी दिस काइंड ऑफ ओवरवेट एंड ओबेसिटी इन यंग किड्स. सो हाई कार्ब डाइट शुरू होता है. वहां से ब्लड में शुगर हमेशा ज्यादा होता है. शुगर ज्यादा होने से पैनक्रियास जो है वो इंसुलिन पैदा करते रहता है. इंसुलिन कीप्स कमिंग इनटू अ ब्लड स्ट्रीम, एंड इंसुलिन का काम है उस सेल को निकाल के, उस शुगर को निकाल के हमारे सेल्स यानी कोशिकाओं को, इट विल सप्लाई दिस insulin to the sugar to our cells. And primarily there are 3 cells in which it focuses. It is the liver, it is the muscles, and then it is the adipose tissues, which are the fat. तो ये मैंने लाइफ शेपर से सीखा है. And because there is a constant lot of glucose in the blood and lot of insulin coming and all that, तो अल्टीमेटली सेल्स के अंदर जो इंसुलिन रिसेप्टर, एवरी सेल हैज गॉट अ डोर, यू कैन इमेजिन इट एज अ डोर, इट इज कॉल्ड insulin receptor. This insulin receptor says, hold on, hold on, hold on, how much, and then slowly it starts becoming resistance. So we start creating a resistance in ourselves. Just like we take the antibiotics too often, the bacteria against which those antibiotics are supposed to work, the bacteria becomes resistant to that, and then we have to go for higher and higher antibiotics. So same way, more and more. Pancreas. Why is it called pancreas? Because pancreas always panics the minute the sugar lies in the blood for a longer period of time. It panics and keeps sending more sugar, and that is how we start getting not only insulin resistance but a lot of other things. So here is the insulin trying to put this sugar into the cell, but the cell says no, 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 I'm not interested, I'm not interested, I don't want it. Okay, so now what are the problems that you get because of insulin resistance? Skin tags. I mean, you can think of it, and you have all those diseases. So if you have high cholesterol or high triglycerides, and many people tell me, oh, I'm not eating too much of oily food, I even have reduced the oil in my sabzi. How am I getting high cholesterol, high triglycerides? Well, maybe your insulin resistance, because insulin, not contrary to the popular opinion that insulin only takes care of sugar, it also works on protein as well as fats. It converts that into fat, gets into the bloodstream as fatty acids, and protein gets into the blood as amino acids. So, and so many other things. Anyway, so if these are some of the things that you feel tired, if you're gaining weight, if you're having gout, many people think that gout is because of protein intake. It is basically insulin resistance. So many things. Fatty liver, we all know that. We discussed this a lot in our 8-week program. PCOS, many young girls are finding PCOS, PCOD, could be because they're already becoming insulin resistance. Okay, so here are some more things. Cravings for food, sweets and salty foods, fatigue. Now, type in the chat if these are some of the things that you are facing. How many of you are facing any of these? Any of these, okay? Increased hunger or thirst, tingling sensations in hands or feet, all of these. If type one or yes in the chat, if you find any of these. Yeah, many people are finding this, okay? So now, how do we find out? How do we actually find out, and who are the people at risk? Type again, you can type any of these, or you can just type yes in the chat. If you have a family history of diabetes, if you have high cholesterol levels, if you have low level of physical activity, आप फिजिकल एक्टिविटी करते ही नहीं हो, ओके, ओबेसिटी अगर है, स्मोकिंग अगर आप करते हो, इफ यू स्मोक, and if you are talking of some medicines, so then that can also cause pre-diabetic. Now, how do you find out if you have pre-diabetes? Okay, there are two tests. यहाँ पे दो टेस्ट है called impaired fasting glucose and impaired glucose tolerance, IFG, IGT. काफी महंगे टेस्ट हैं, और we don't really need to go for I learned from Pramila a very very simple, easier, cheaper test. अगर आपके उंगलियों में कुछ आ रहा है, so then there is a very high chance that you have pre-diabetes condition. Now, how do you what do you do? अगर टेस्ट किया, मान लीजिए आपने वो दो टेस्ट भी किया, तो अगर आपको प्री डायबिटीज निकलता है तो क्या करना चाहिए? अगर आपका टेस्ट नॉर्मल है, इफ यू हैव नो प्री डायबिटीज, आई दोस टेस्ट कम आउट नॉर्मल, then keep repeating the test after 2 or 3 years. But if you already have tested as a pre-diabetic, then start testing for diabetes every 1 or 2 years. Okay, every 2 years you start, depending on the age. What do you expect if you're already diagnosed as a pre-diabetic? Number one, you are at an increased heart disease and stroke risk. आपको हार्ट अटैक और ब्रेन स्ट्रोक आने के चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ते हैं, एंड ऑब्वियसली टाइप 2 डायबिटीज कुछ सालों में आपको आ सकता है, फुल ब्लोन डायबिटिक आप बन सकते हैं, और एक बार डायबिटीज बनते हैं तो दवाई शुरू करनी पड़ती है. एंड डू यू नो दैट दी डायबिटीज के तो बहुत साइड इफेक्ट्स हम सबको पता है, बट डिड यू नो दैट द मेडिसिन ऑफ डायबिटीज, metformin, just google side effects of metformin, they have huge side effects. Okay, so what we want is, we want to avoid getting into the diabetes stage from pre-diabetes. So what precautions can you take? Keep taking, keep checking for diabetes. Number one, अगर आपका BMI ज्यादा है, 25 से ज्यादा है, तो उसको कम करेंगे तो आपका प्री डायबिटीज निकल सकता है, रिवर्स हो सकता है. start eating healthy and physical activity को एक अपना हिस्सा बनाइए. Start using physical activity as one of your tools against prediabetes, and start reducing the weight. This is what we focus on anyway in our fat loss program, 8-week fat loss program. So from insulin resistance to insulin sensitive हमको बनना है. So these are some of the things, and you can talk to the person who has invited you here, and he or she can give you this screenshot. It's not a big deal. We can give this, not a problem at all. Okay, so when it comes to exercising, these are some of the things that you need to do. I always say that, many people say I walk. Well, walking is fantastic. If you do nothing, start walking. That's very good. Start walking. That's extremely good for you. But start thinking of doing some aerobics, some balance workouts, strength and resistance training, because that will, increase the uptake of glycogen, that is a sugar in your muscles. And that is what we want. The more the muscles can absorb the sugar instead of your liver or instead of the adipose tissue, the lesser the chance of getting into pre-diabetes and for diabetes itself. So start thinking of these things. These are very, very important. Secondly, food ke bare mein. Okay, so we need to have right foods. So obviously, ye sab, very, very common thing hai. But look at this. Get enough protein. Get enough protein and think about portions. I mean, isn't that what we speak about in our 8-week program? हम यही तो बात करते हैं ना 8-week program में. Protein खाओ and vegetables खाओ and portion size पे focus करो. So this is what we are talking about, and these are the principles of Life Shapers that all of you, anyone who has already attended the 8-week program, has done the 8-week program, can you put a yes in the chat? How many of you have completed or in the process of doing the 8-week program? Yes. A lot of people have done the 8-week program, are in the process of 8-week program. So you know these principles already. Now let me come back and ask you one question. How many of you loved Kishore session yesterday? Kishore ka session kisko acha laga? Kal, put a love, yeah. How many of you can ratify all the 10 things that he mentioned yesterday? Yes. Okay. So we know, we love you, Kishore. But nobody can, right? I mean, very few people can remember all. The only Kishore can remember them. Maybe he has written them down somewhere. So how much is it worth to get that session from Kishore or any of the Life Shaper coach? How much is it worth? Put any figure from 1 rupee to 500 rupees. Any figure. This is just a. How much is 100 rupees? Okay, 100 rupees. I got 100. Anyone? 101, 102. Anyone would like to go for? Now, what if you get Kishore or any of the senior health coaches for 5 days? 5 days continuously. Priceless. Okay. So, Life Shaper ke principles priceless hai. This is what I have been following for the last 4 years. I did the program more than 4 years ago. I got a super coach who worked with me for 60 days on a continuous basis. और वो आदत यहाँ पे बन गई है, और वो आदत हमको यहाँ पे लेके आ गई है. So this is what it is. 299. We have a boot camp, starting on 4th of December, and that's like 4 or 5 days from now. आज का दिन पकड़ेंगे तो 5 दिन में शुरू हो रही है, and you will get a senior health coach working with you for 5 days, looking at your plates and guiding you in so many things. Talk to the person who invited you and see how you can kind of register for this. It's very, very important. Okay. Now, last 1 minute, I just want to ask you, how many of you drive a vehicle? Gaadi kaun chalata hai? Bike, ya car, or whatever. Yes. A lot of people are obviously driving a car. How many of you understand how the accelerator works, how the clutch works, how the engine, how the combustion happens? प्रोटीन ये प्रोटीन ही आता है जुबान पे. पेट्रोल की गाड़ी में पेट्रोल ही क्यों डालते हैं, डीजल की गाड़ी में डीजल क्यों डालते हैं, इलेक्ट्रिक कार कैसे चलता है? Does anybody know that? Nobody knows that, right? Even automobile engineers, I've studied automobile engineering to some extent. Very few people will understand how exactly it works. But what do we have to do? We have to learn how to drive. We just learn how to drive. गाड़ी में बैठ के गियर कैसे डालना है, क्लच कैसे दबाना है, एक्सीलरेटर कैसे छोड़ना है, स्टीयरिंग कैसे पकड़ना, we just learn that. So यहाँ पे अंदर जाने के बाद वो क्या होता है, प्री इंसुलिन सेंसिटिविटी क्या होता है, इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस क्या होता है, इस सब पे हमको फोकस करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओके, 5 दिन अगर आप समझ जाते हो कि खाना कैसे खाना है, एक्सरसाइज कितना करना है, क्या करना है, दैट इज इनफ. That will help you to stay healthy. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical person. I don't understand half of the things that I've told you. What I understand is that we can learn and stay free. So that is what I wanted to say. And tomorrow we are going to hear from another senior health coach, Manish. So be ready. And don't forget, Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be Pramila. So it's going to be a power pack session. So with that, I will say goodbye. Thank you. And do join tomorrow. I hope this was of some value to everyone. Bye bye.